There we go. And good morning. Hope you guys doing well? Happy Thursday. Memories from the past. 8 years ago, it was a Cast Try weekend. Wow. A long time ago. A lot has changed since then. I'm reminded of that because my good buddy's baby, Sydney, was about 5, probably. Sydney's an old girl now. She's probably a teenager by now. Man, oh man, kids grow up quick. So, yeah, happy Thursday, 8 a.m. As always, it's a beautiful day. Still haven't gotten to see that movie. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, or whatever they're calling it. Tom Hanks representing Mr. Rogers. For all you millennials who don't know who Mr. Rogers is, or snowflakes, I guess you guys are called snowflakes. Good morning, Becky. Mr. Rogers was the man, and I still really want to see that movie. Good morning, Matt. Long time no chat. It's almost been probably 5 minutes. All right, so yesterday we chatted a little bit about protein. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about social media's biggest storyline: carbohydrates. Everybody either loves them or hates them. There's no in between. There's nobody out there that's like, carbs, yeah, you know. You either love them or hate them. You want to lose weight, you eliminate them for whatever reason, because social media told you to, and a few people at your gym did it, and they lost weight, and then they gained all of it back plus 10%. But you love them or hate them, carbs, carbohydrates, they're a thing. So I break them down into 3 categories because it makes more sense. Really 4 categories, but we'll start with 3. So we have starches. From starches, when I say like starches, I'm talking about like breads, pasta, rice, quinoa, amaranth, millet, cookies, and cakes. I don't know where ice cream fits in. I was thinking about that, and ice cream, it's so supery, sugary, and good, but we're going to give it its own macronutrient category. So starches: breads, pasta, rice, amaranth, quinoa, cookies, cakes, things like that, you know. Highly refined carbohydrates. Cereals are 99% of them, unless they're a grain-free cereal, would be classified as a starch. Okay, and then we have fruit: apples, pears, blueberries, raspberries, yada, 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 yada. Then we have your vegetables. This is going to be your non-starchy vegetables. So this is where I break into 4 categories, because the 3 main categories would be starches, vegetables, fruits, but then we can break down the vegetables into starchy and non-starchy. Non-starchy vegetables: kale, spinach, Brussels sprouts, cucumbers, asparagus, your cruciferous veggies like your broccoli, cauliflower, I said cucumber, you know, those are your non-starchy vegetables. What does that mean? That means they don't have starch. What does that mean? Even more so, let's make a comparison. Broccoli per cup, about 6 grams of carbohydrates per cup. Same thing, right? Brussels sprouts, right around the same thing. Cucumbers, even less. Celery doesn't have like any calories in it at all. Spinach, a non-cooked cup of spinach is like 2 grams of carbs. So enjoy that spinach. Still have some micronutrients though. They're going to have your micronutrients. Amaranth, it's a grain, mostly used for cooking. Like barley, wheat, amaranth. It's probably good for horses. Yeah, we've used it We've used amaranth flour. I believe we have some at home. But it's similar to like a barley. So if we look at starchy vegetables, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, squash, corn, peas, those are going to be your starchy vegetables. So again, what does that mean when we compare? So starchy vegetable is going to have starch. So it's more calorically dense per ounce, per cup. I like to use per cup because for a lot of people, if I say, oh yeah, don't forget to have 27 grams of a sweet potato, you're like, the fuck is 27 grams of a sweet potato? So if I say, don't forget to have a quarter cup of sweet potato, you're like, oh, I know what a quarter cup looks like. Or I can at least get my scooper out. Let's compare sweet potato. And again, sweet potatoes are fine. One medium-sized, so like medium-sized being like 5 to 6 inch by like 2.5 inch sweet potato cooked, baked, is gonna have about 25 to 30 grams of carbohydrates. That's not good, bad, or indifferent. That's just a number, right? When we look back at Brussels sprouts, or broccoli, you're going to be at about 5 grams. So you can see there just that caloric density. So I can have about 5 cups of broccoli to 1 sweet potato to get to the same amount of grams of carbohydrates. Again, if you're someone who's always starving, get away from the starchier vegetables because you'll get to eat physically more food when you go to the non-starchy side of the world. Does that make sense? I think it should make sense because you get more food. Like if you're always hungry, ditch your sweet potato and pick up 5 cups of broccoli. And then all of a sudden it's like you legit can eat 1 bag of frozen broccoli florets versus 1 sweet potato. So like 1 big bag, steamable bag, to 1 sweet potato that's like this big. So if you're sitting there saying like, oh, every time I try to do a diet, I'm always so starving. Really? Because like one entire bag of frozen broccoli is like 240 calories. A sweet potato is about 250. Then there's these 2 little veggies that kind of hang out on the side. And those are carrots and beets. And I kind of put them, they're considered a starchy vegetable, but they're not as starchy. So like per cup, beets have about 10 grams of carbs. Not 20, but not 5. So they're kind of like, same thing with carrots. They kind of sit in that middle area. Like they just kind of, those 2 kind of hang out in their own little land. Again, super beneficial. It doesn't matter, it does matter how many grams of carbs they have per cup, but it matters more importantly like what your body needs, right? So if I need 100 grams of carbohydrates and I only eat twice a day, probably not going to try to get it all from broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower. Otherwise, I'm going to be single for life because no one will date me because of the gas that I will have from the amount of fiber that I would have to consume to get there. So I'd probably throw some sweet potatoes in, maybe even some rice. Now, I do want to say, just like yesterday, 1 gram of carbohydrates has 4 calories, just like protein. So that being said, I know you're all dying to know, how many grams should I eat? What if I'm, it depends. If you're ketogenic, no more than 30 to 40. If you are an iron distance athlete and you're trying to maintain your body weight, it's going to be different than if you're trying to lose body weight, right? So I say for maintenance, around 3 grams per kilogram is a good kind of starting point. So what does that look like? And again, that's going to vary. So if we take our 150-pound person and we'd break them down. Kevin's not joining us today, but if he was, my little British buddy there, he'd tell us that that is 68 kilos. 68 kilos times 3 grams is going to give us around 200-ish grams of carbs. That's if we're trying to maintain. If we're looking for weight loss, we're looking at between 1.5 to 2 grams per kilo. Okay, so and I will sometimes even take that a little bit lower. Usually that 1.5 grams, because most of the clients that I work with are athletes. Okay, so try to give them a little bit of extra carbs, because a cranky athlete's never a fun person to talk to. And carbs make them psychologically feel better because they feel like they're eating, you know, they need carbohydrates, and you don't. You can, you know, ketogenic diets work absolutely wonders. One of my, the dean of the nutrition program at NYCC, where I got my master's, has been ketogenic for 15 years because he has a form of epilepsy that is unable to be treated with medication. So they put him on, so he put himself on a ketogenic diet because ketogenic diets have been shown to work very well with epilepsy, especially when it's not able to be controlled with medication, because the way that your ketones are utilized as fuel for your brain is a more of like using diesel fuel. A loaf of bread would be really satisfying right now. You know what else would be satisfying, Matt? If you stop complaining so much about all of the hard work that you have to do on a daily basis and just did the work. Just kidding. I actually look forward to your messages. Gives me something to laugh at. In a world where there's not much to laugh at. So yeah, ketogenic diet has been actually shown to be very highly effective in treating epilepsy, especially when it's unable to be treated both in children and in adults with medication. So for those of you who think that ketogenic diets cannot be used for long term and that it's highly dangerous and suspect, you're wrong. Tons of data out there. See, Becky knows. See, at least Becky gets to talk to horses all day. I wish I could talk to a horse. Could be kind of fun. Yeah. So there you go, guys. Some quick and dirty carbohydrates. No pun intended, since I don't eat carbs. But yeah, what I would do for a loaf of bread right now, Matt. You remember that scene in American Pie? Like, just kidding. All right, guys, it's Thursday. It's 8:15. I hope you have a wonderful day. That gave you a great visual to leave with. Get outside, do something fun. If you're Matt, don't forget your run. And stay on your meal plan. And I will see you guys tomorrow. It is Friday. I got to tell you, tomorrow is Jerry's birthday. So if you don't wish him a happy birthday, I'm going to unfriend you. And then I am going to slash your tires. Just kidding. Jerry's pretty pumped. He's going to be 5 tomorrow. 5 years ago. And then 5 years ago, oh wow, that's crazy. He was born on a Friday, because that's what I came up with, this amazing plan of us having kids. And I said that he was gonna be born on a Friday. So it's just food for thought. Now that I just thought of this, 5 years ago tonight was the last time I got thought I peed the bed drunk. There's food for thought for you, and that's Randy Holbrook's fault and Greg, because we were at an OAR show and they were like, yeah, this is gonna be the last night you get to really party because your life's gonna change in a couple weeks when Beth has the baby. And then Beth's water broke at 3 in the morning. Yeah, she wasn't keen on the idea of me telling her to call a taxi to go to the hospital, and I'd meet her there later in the day when I could sober up. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that was the last time that I was drunk. It was the night before Jerry was born. I've drank since then, but I never got drunk. So yeah, crazy. 5 years. Whew, don't miss it at all, because it took week to probably get out of that hangover, especially having a new. But anyway, you guys have a great Thursday. It's 8:15. I'm going to do some work. I got some awesome people coming into the office today. And then I got a big 5-year-old's birthday party we're throwing tonight. We're going to be doing our social distance thing. Remember to do yours as well. Stay away from people because basically people are like assholes. They all stink. Have a great day.